This video will cover the OffenderCHECK tab on the Enterprise version. To access the OffenderCHECK menu, you need to put in the OffenderCHECK web password. This will take you to your OffenderCHECK menu. If you're the district admin, make sure you select the school first at the top to make sure you're changing the correct settings for the correct school. At the top here in the dark blue, we have some settings for your OffenderCHECK. The first thing we have is your deny access list. The deny access list is a list of people that you create who you do not want to allow to check in on campus. This is usually something that's court mandated, such as a court injunction or a restriction order. If a person is found to be on this list, when they come to check in, they will receive an error 22. To add someone to the deny access list, you will need to click on Deny Access List. If you have already added someone, you will be able to see their name at the bottom here, and you can click on the pencil and paper to edit them or delete them. You can add a new deny access entry by clicking on Add Deny Access Entry. Just make sure you select your school at the top here first. You will need to first select the school. Then you will need to fill in the information of that person. Anything marked with an asterisk is a required field. That would be first name, last name, date of birth, gender, and the memo. The memo is just a brief description of which students the deny access record applies to. Once you are done, you can go ahead and click on Save Changes. Let's go ahead and click on Back to go back to the OffenderCHECK menu. To edit your deny access reasons for your deny access list, there's a Deny Access Reasons tab right here. To add a deny access reason, you just need to click on that. And we have a few here that you already have. You can click on the pencil and paper next to each one to edit it. Or you can click on Add to add a new one. You will just need to put the deny access reason, the code, which is optional, and the name in Spanish if you are translating it. It's also optional. Once you are done, go ahead and click on Save Changes, and your new reason will appear next to the other ones here. You can go ahead and click on Back, and this will take you back to the OffenderCHECK menu. The next tab that we have is your Good Guy list. Your Good Guy list is a list of people that you create. These people may have been false positives for the OffenderCHECK alerts. They may have received an error 55 for a possible sexual offender match, when in reality they were not a match. If you find that this is true, then you can add them to this list that's called the Good Guy list, so that next time they come to check in, they will be able to check in without receiving the error 55 for the possible sexual offender match. To add someone to the list, you will click on Good Guy list. If you have already added someone, you will see them down here, and you can come back at any time and click on the pencil and paper next to their name to edit their information. To add a new Good Guy, you will click on Add Good Guy. You will first need to select your school, and then you will need to fill in the information here. Anything marked with an asterisk is a required field. So that would be first name, last name, gender, date of birth, driver's license number, driver's license state, and the expiration date. Once you have filled all these fields out, go ahead and click on Save Changes. The person you added to the Good Guy list will then appear here with the rest of the names. Go ahead and click on Back to go back to the OffenderCHECK menu. If you wish to change your OffenderCHECK password to get into the OffenderCHECK menu, you can go ahead and click on Change Password. You will need to put in your old password and a new one. This will only change it to access the OffenderCHECK menu. You do need to change the client override password here. The next tab is going to be your repeat visitors tab. This is a list of people that you create who may come onto campus frequently, and instead of having them scan their license, you can select the repeat visitor list, put in your repeat visitor password, which is located at the bottom here. After you've put that password in, you will be able to see a list of the people that you created. You just have to select their name from the list and select the reason for checking in, and then that will print them out a visitor's badge and check them in. To add someone to the repeat visitor list, you will click on this repeat visitors. If you already have someone in here, then you can click on the pencil and paper next to their name to edit their information. If you wish to add a new repeat visitor, you can click on Add Repeat Visitor. First, you will need to select your school here, and then you will need to fill in the fields here. Anything marked with an asterisk is a required field. So that would be first name, last name, date of birth, repeat visitor expiration date, the state, and the driver's license number. Once you have filled all this in, go ahead and click on Save Changes. The new entry will appear under the names here. Go ahead and click on Back to go back to the OffenderCHECK menu. You can also set up OffenderCHECK alerts for any of those error 55s that you receive. To set up the alerts, you just need to click on OffenderCHECK alerts. To add a new alert, click on Add New. You will need to fill in the information of the person who you wish to receive these alerts. Once you click on OK, the new entry will appear under the names here. You can come back and edit this information at any time or delete it. So every time a person comes in and they get an error 55, these people on the list will get alerted via email. The email will contain a link where they can see the match and verify if the person who checked in is a possible sexual offender or not. The next thing you need to do is make sure you have the access ID here. If you do not know your access ID, please contact School Check-in. And once again, the client override password is going to be the School Check-in OffenderCHECK password that you will use in the actual program. So this will be used to override anything or bypass any of your possible sexual offenders. The next things that I will go over here in the middle are going to be some of your display and miscellaneous settings. The first thing you want to do is make sure that if you are using OffenderCHECK, you want to have OffenderCHECK enabled. So make sure that this is always set to yes. You can also display the visitor sex offender warning. This will warn the visitor that when they scan their license, it will check for sexual offenders. If you wish to have this warning displayed, go ahead and select yes. The next option is going to be your allow manual entry. If you do want to allow manual entries of driver's licenses in case someone doesn't have their driver's license with them, then go ahead and select yes. The next option works well if a secretary or someone in the front office is checking people in. Preview results on the screen will actually show the results of any of the error 55s on the screen. That way you can see the matches right away. If you are having visitors check in themselves, you would probably want this turned off. The next option that we have here is verification. If you select yes here, when a visitor scans their license, it will ask them to verify their information that was scanned. They will need to select yes or no for each item that was scanned. This will verify that everything that was scanned is correct. The next option is going to be use good guy list. This will enable you to use the good guy list in the school check-in program. That way you can add people to the good guy list on the actual program instead of having to come to this page right here to add them at the top under the good guy list. If you select yes next to fast scan enabled, this will allow you to scan driver's licenses from the main menu instead of clicking on visitors and then having them scan the driver's license. If you are using a webcam, you can use the live photo in lieu of scanning. However, if you are using one of the driver's license scanners that does scan the driver's license picture, it does automatically print the driver's license picture on the visitor ID badges. You can also choose to save a copy of the driver's license image here. The driver's license image will be saved under the school check-in folder under the visitor driver's licenses. The next setting that we have is test DAL only. This will allow you to scan licenses, but it only checks them against the deny access list. Next, we have enable repeat visitor. If you select yes, this will allow you to use the repeat visitor list to check in visitors. Again, to check in a repeat visitor, this is something that you need to create. To add a repeat visitor, remember to add them on the repeat visitor list at the top here. You will also need the repeat visitor password down here in order to be able to access the repeat visitor list. The next setting is going to be automatic or manual. When you have display sex offender report on the screen, it gives you the option to send the report automatically, or you can choose to send it by clicking the button. This will be called the manual. The last thing at the bottom is going to be your DOD. If you click on yes here, this will enable you to scan military IDs and licenses with the driver's license scanner. After you've made any changes to this menu here, make sure you click on Save Changes at the bottom. And that concludes this video. To access additional videos, please visit us at schoolcheckin.com.